Hello, friends around the world, and welcome to the program, Caravan to Midnight DEFCON 2.0, the Friday night edition. What a week it has been. All of these fake bombs being blamed on Mr. Trump by the fake news media. So much hypocrisy, so much fraud. Remember the White Helmets? White Helmets is purportedly a humanitarian group. But they're not. I've never thought so. All I had to do was look into it for about 10 minutes. I saw all kinds of things I didn't like, including the fact that they're embedded with operators in the security services, and they are the ones who arrange these false flag gas attacks in Syria. Haven't heard much about Syria lately, have we? Well, I think that's because due to articles like this one in orientalreview.org by Rick Sterling, published on the 24th. Really? When's the last time you went to orientalreview.org for some news? Well, I'll be making a visit over here more frequently, I think, because this is a good article. Now, about the White Helmets. Some Western journalists and activists exposing the White Helmets were doing it long before this big story was published on Russian media. In spring 2015, the basic facts about the White Helmets, including their origins, funding, and role in the information war on Syria, were exposed in an article entitled 7 Steps of Highly Effective Manipulators. The article showed how the White Helmets were a key component in a campaign pushing for a no-fly zone in Syria. It confirmed that the White Helmets is a political lobby force. In spring 2016, Vanessa Beeley launched a petition, "Do not give the Nobel Peace Prize to the White Helmets." The petition garnered more support than a contrary petition urging the Nobel Committee to give the award to the White Helmets. Perhaps because of that, the petition was abruptly removed without explanation from the change.org website. It was only at this time, with publicity around the heavily promoted nomination of the White Helmets for a Nobel Peace Prize, that RT and other Russian media started to publicize and expose the White Helmets. This is 1.5 years after they were first exposed in Western alternative media. Speaking of Western media, did you see where Megyn Kelly's blown out of NBC for saying something about blackface? Al Jolson practically built a career around doing stuff in blackface. If you want to see something funny, do it before you can, do it before you can't, as YouTube will scrub it as soon as they, once again, they do this every once in a while, pull their heads out, so to speak, out into the sunlight. You know what I mean? It's called Black and White Minstrel Show. And the girls are white, and the guys are all in blackface, and they're dancing, singing Palo Walla Doodle All Day. I mean, it's an amazing production. But then there's all this, and we shouldn't have done it because it was so racist. And yet, every sitcom featuring a family, the dad's always the moron. The African American is always the genius. It's so funny. In John Wick 2, you know, the man that played Morpheus in Matrix, he finally said what I said back when we first watched The Matrix as a family together. Oh, another all-knowing guy. And he says, it's one of his lines in John Wick 2, I am all-seeing, I am all-knowing. Sorry. All right, get this. White helmets and chemical weapons accusations. The late Robert Perry published many articles exposing the White Helmets. For example, the White Helmets controversy and Syria war propaganda at the Oscars. Perry wrote and published numerous investigations of the August 2013 chemical weapons attack and concluded the attacks were carried out by an opposition faction with the goal of pressuring the U.S. to intervene militarily. Perry also challenged Western conclusions regarding incidents such as April 4, 2017 at Khan Stekun. Quote, this article by Giovanni. Buried deep inside a new UN report is evidence that could exonerate the Syrian government, the April 4 sarin atrocity, and make President Trump look like an al-Qaeda dupe. Legendary American journalist Seymour Hersh researched and refuted the assumptions of Giovanni and the media establishment regarding the August 2013 chemical weapons attack near Damascus. Hersh's investigation, titled The Red Line and the Rat Line, provided evidence the atrocity was carried out by an armed opposition group with active support from Turkey. A Turkish member of parliament provided additional evidence. The fact that Hersh had to go across the Atlantic to have his investigation published suggests American, not Russian, disinformation and censorship. I was told over a year ago, read Russian publications, read Russian articles, watch Russian television programs whenever you can. Ladies and gentlemen, I say again, this is an exciting time to be alive. We know what the problem is. We know what the multiple problems are. We know to a high level of confidence and a very high percent who is causing the problems. And absolutely, we are beginning to find out why they are causing the problems. And it is, as I have long suspected, it is, I call it global communism because that's what it will be. If we say global totalitarianism, that may grab you a little bit harder. We've all gotten used to it. You know, to some degree, I've even gotten used to it, but I'm continuously aware of it. So what happens? Let me just run this past you. You know, we've discussed on Caravan to Midnight the fact that if social media platforms are watching and they let you know that they're watching, what will you do? More than likely, you will self-censor. Well, let's take that a step further. Do we think that anyone out there has had the idea that, hey, if we let it out into the public awareness domain, that your apps are tracking you, your buying habits, your travel habits, the little places, the stores, the restaurants, the parks, the churches, the schools, those places that you frequent, you're being tracked. And because, you know, we talked to Anthony Patch, he'll tell us all about D-Wave computers. A lot of that stuff's already been deployed. So everything that you do is written down. You know, most of us were led to believe, we were brought up that God is watching everything we do. Well, I believe that he is. But now, I'm just raise this a little bit there. But now, we have the tech that we carry around, the devices that people actually experience separation anxiety if they forget their phone and leave it at home. We all know and have accepted that everything from those devices, the mobile phone, the smart TVs with the camera in them, the false off position where the Samsung Smart TV appears to be off, but it's not. And in the instruction manual, they let themselves off the hook by saying, don't do or say anything in front of the TV that you wouldn't want stored, you know, sent to the cloud and stored somewhere. I'm paraphrasing, but not very much. The GPS in your car, the sticker you put on your windshield because you travel a toll road. You don't want to deal with collecting the mail, pulling out the bill, writing a check, putting it in another envelope, putting a stamp on it, filling out an address if you know, an envelope wasn't provided to you. Now you're going to have to do that and then walk all the way out to the mailbox and mail it. Nah, just put a sticker on the car. That way, every time you pass through there, they'll know that you, Joan, or you, Bob, travel that road. How often you travel it. Where do you exit? Know everything about you. You go up on eBay on one computer in your house. You go to another computer in your house and you want to look at something else, and an eBay ad pops up. GM is beginning to market to you in your car. You know, I was sitting last night. It was raining. The window was down on this old car. It's a cool old car. It's a 1967 Cougar. Bucket seats, automatic transmission. It's nice, maroon with a black top and a black interior. Just a nice little car. Kind of square. If a kid got a hold of it, you know, he'd need to put some Kragers or some kind of American racing wheels or something on it to make it look a little bit more muscular. Because as it is, it's just a nice car. And its window was down a little bit and it was raining. I went out there and the window had a little problem, so I messed with the crank a little bit until it finally came up. I just sat in this car and started it up. Had to pump it several times because, you know, the accelerator pump chamber in the carburetor had leaked down overnight, so it was empty. Got to run it, spin it over a few times, get the fuel pump, the mechanical fuel pump, pump something up there, fill it up to where now I'm pumping it, and the accelerator pump, squirt a little bit of gas, the carburetor, and it'll start. I'm sitting there. And it's got a long, narrow console. It's so minimalist inside. By today's standards, generally, of new cars, it looks like the Danes designed this thing. It's so minimalist. It's just perfect. A little narrow console, but there's no console box. But there's a little flexible door, almost like it has those little slats, you know, and they just kind of fold up like that. You just lift it up, and you can put stuff in there. I mean, there's no foam. There are no little sections for you to put stuff in. It's just a space for you to put something. And I thought to myself, this car looks so Spartan compared to virtually anything you buy, from the least expensive little Hyundai all the way up to, you know, some supercar. So Spartan. And yet there is a certain comfort to me. Now, people may go, oh, you're old school. We're a kid in that era. Yeah, I get that. But, you know, elegance, minimalism, a streamlined effect, a streamlined experience. That's timeless. Completely timeless. I mean, look at your average flying saucer, right? Now, of course, the movies make them all clipped on, plugged in, monstrous, very ugly, very complicated. But the old school flying saucer, what a perfect design. Dome on the top, dome on the bottom, circular disc separating the hemispheres. It's beautiful. You could get in this little Cougar and you could drive from Atlanta, Georgia to Los Angeles, California with no problem. Just get in it and drive. Along the way, you may have the radiator start steaming. Yep, need a thermostat. That's going to be about $3. And put the thermostat in. Yeah, this one's stuck all right. Put some more antifreeze in it. Snug it down, tighten the cap, and drive off. No big deal. No roadside assistance in those days unless you were a AAA member. Might be a while before the truck came to rescue you if they couldn't fix your car on the spot. And I was just thinking, this car was enough. Everything that's on this car is enough. If you want the emergency brake, the parking brake on, just pull the L-shaped handle, light switch, wiper switch, turn signal, gear selector, accelerator pedal, brake pedal, mechanical locks, mechanical windows. You go off into the creek and crank the window open. If you got electric windows, you're not going to crank the window open because the windows won't work, obviously. I believe that's going to be the next step in our evolution. I think we're going to realize that Tyler Durden was completely correct when he said in the movie Fight Club, the stuff that you own owns you. It's true. You can take one of these old cars, but unless you use it and drive it, before long the transmission seals are hard and it's leaking all over the floor and the battery's dead, the fuel's gotten kind of well, spoiled, and now it's turning to shellac if you leave it there long enough. Now you got to clean the whole fuel system, and the brakes are going soft. And now the brake pistons are, now they're leaking and all of that. So you have to use it. There's the thing about anything that you haven't used in the last 2 years, get rid of it. Now, this excludes, of course, mementos and family history items and so forth, but it's really true. Over the years, I bought the highest quality clothing, whether it's shirt or even blue jeans, that I could afford. And the thing about high quality garments like that, the problem is you won't ever need any more. You can send it to the dry cleaners if you want to preserve it. If you don't want it to last so long, you run it to the washing machine. Washing machine will wear it out quicker. The point is, I don't need to buy any more clothes ever again. Somewhere there's a sweater. Somewhere there's a usable pair of blue jeans. I think I've got a pair of shoes that are decent in the back of the closet somewhere, pretty sure. And it'll be a long time before I need a new suit. We have enough, don't we? Have you noticed that you only realize the true value of a $20 bill when you don't have anything but that $20 bill? Isn't it amazing how you can make that 20 stretch? You got $2,000 sitting around that, hey, I just got a check for $2,000. You blow through it like it was nothing and have very little, if anything, to show for it. In the same way that there is information disease by just hearing too much information, too much, that you're unable to process. Strip off what you need, discard the rest. What you need will be, if you need more of that, then you remember enough to go back and seek it out. But you don't carry everything in the article or in the book or anything else with you. Just a few little things. What happens to our economy if suddenly we decide we're not going to take any more illegal drugs? We're not going to commit any crime whatsoever, not even so much as a parking ticket, nothing. We will not speed. We will not go at the speed limit through a school zone. We will go 2 or 3 miles per hour slower through the school zone. What would happen if we became a law-abiding, very capable, responsible society? No crime. There's no crime in this town. People just don't steal. They just don't. People don't murder. People don't speed. People don't cheat. They don't cheat in any department, on anything. And we don't need all of this stuff. We don't need duplicates and triplicates of everything, because that's what a lot of people have. Drink, want more drink. Drug, want more drug. Car, want 2 car. Want 3 car. Want 2 car and pickup truck. RV. Boat. Not 1 motorcycle, 2 motorcycles. What for? Can't take it with you. And don't really have time to use all of it. It's just an option. And what you usually wind up doing is not using it at all. It's kind of admiring it. You may not even notice if it were gone from your garage for a couple of minutes. Wait a minute. Because it's out of your mind. You still own it, but it's out of your mind. Just asking, what would happen if we all decided to go minimalist? What would happen to this economy? I wonder sometimes if the reason that people resent all this surveillance is that we want to reserve the option to pull Bravo Sierra whenever it suits us. We don't really want to be tracked because that limits our options in being able to act up and act out. Right? So to bring it all around to full circle, if we censor ourselves on social media, because we know someone's watching. Won't we continue to censor ourselves, or whatever the derivative of censorship is, if we know that we're being watched everywhere we go, tracked everywhere we go? What does that make us if we are being monitored in everything we do? Well, it makes us prisoners, effectively prisoners. When you can't do anything, you can't do anything. I mean, you can scratch behind your right ear or something, but I'm talking about an activity, a mission, a job. You can't do anything without a record of how you got there, when you left to go there, and what you did when you got there. It's all on record somewhere. How does that make you feel? Well, it sends me right back to Patrick McGowan. Mind your own business, meaning keep your mind on your own business and your mind off of other people's business. The problem nowadays, as he warned, is that our business is these tech companies' business. So what do we do about that? I'm prepared to hear some ideas, because this has gotten totally out of control, all this bomb nonsense. It's clearly to be seen what that is, and it really doesn't matter what they come up with. It's a right-winger who hugs his Bible 3 times a day in between caressing his rifle, which is an AR-15. To me, this is so patently phony. I really wonder how many people are falling for it. I do not know many things, obviously. One of the most important things that I don't know much about is where we're going to wind up when all of this nonsense that's going on today is behind us and has been for some time. Where are we going to be in another few years? We're all experiencing this acceleration of time. Nobody's getting the same 24 hours worth a day that we used to get out of 24 hours in that day. No, we're not. And I really wonder, when the mighty wicked fall and we're able to see in the cold, hard light of day exactly what they've done and what position they have put us in, I wonder how we'll react to that, because we are just now getting down to the substance. There's been all of this fluff and chaff and padding and glaze and all sorts of obstacles between us and the answer to our question, whatever that question may be, as far as the governance of our civilization is concerned. We're just now finding out. When we understand it completely, I wonder if we'll feel regret or relief. For me, I think it's going to be relief. I really do. If there is any regret, it'll only be that we somehow didn't get to it sooner. Anyway, kind of a long diatribe. Last couple of news segments, just been you and me just sitting around talking. Of course, you know, half of a conversation is listening, so anytime you want to sing out, you know how to do it. Just John B. at caravantomidnight.com, JOHN B's and Bravo at caravantomidnight.com. And don't forget about the spectacular deal that we have for you if you absolutely positively cannot make it to Operation Classified on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of November. With the black tie ball, dinner and ball on the 11th. That's a Sunday. Proceeds to benefit former National Security Advisor Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn's Legal Defense Fund. They ruined his finances with some bogus charges. I say again, the FBI agent said, we don't think he lied about anything. But Mueller wanted to get him. Mueller. Well, what goes around comes around, Bob. Maybe you ought to remember that. Wonder how many skeletons are in your closet. We understand that you have a number of failures in your professional career. But how many skeletons are in your closet professionally and personally? Well, we're going to find out about that. They want to spy on us and track us. Okay. I wonder how long they'll do that when we begin spying on and monitoring them. We can. So anyway, back to Operation Classified. If you can only make it for one day, make it to the ball. Those proceeds benefit Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn's Legal Defense Fund. They ruined his finances. He lost his house. He's not a victim. He doesn't portray himself as a victim. I'm not trying to portray him as a victim either. He's a solid military man, and we need to back him up. We really do. And you know what? You will be part of an event that is the only event of its kind in this country and the world. Now, that may seem like a little bit of a stretch. It's not. If anybody has put together a conference with a black tie ball and dinner on the last night of the conference to benefit the General's Legal Defense Fund, I don't know about it, or I would have already bought a ticket. Now get this. This is the best deal of them all. It's $125 for the live feed, right? And it'll be archived, so you can listen to it, or probably archive it for 6 months. That's usually how it's done. All right? Now, the best deal is if you're not a member of Caravan to Midnight, you can get a year's subscription and access to the live feed for $95. And if you're already a Caravan to Midnight member, your live stream is $28. For the caliber of speakers and the length of the conference, it really should be much more than that. But we want to make it affordable so that as many people as possible can take part in this. And I urge you to do it. You're not going to be disappointed. Has Caravan to Midnight just disappointed you on its spectacular level? It's just like, oh, I sure am sorry I ever joined Caravan to Midnight. Well, Operation Classified is not going to disappoint you either. So come on down to Texas. It'll all be happening down here on the 9th, 10th, and 11th of November. Stand by. An interesting conversation awaits you.